for those of you watching that don't know, Joel here has taken a kind of an epic trip, right? You're going from where are you starting and where are you gonna end? And you're in the middle of it, by the way, right now, right? So,
Yeah. I'm about a third of the way down my trip. So I started up in a town called Coldfoot up in Alaska, which is above the Arctic Circle.
oh wow, way
And
up there.
yeah, so like, you go to Fairbanks and it's super far north, and then you like take this dirt road just right up. And I didn't quite make it over the Brooks Range, which is kind of the very tip of the top of the continent. Um, but yeah, I made it pretty far up there. It was pretty high up there. And then I turned around and I'm heading down to Tierra del Fuego in Argentina. So
Wow.
yeah, pretty long, epic journey. But I think obviously the means of the journey is the most epic part, and probably the reason why you're having me on here,
Yeah,
doing it in a
because
solar powered van, right?
yeah, solar power. So it's an electric vehicle, but you're 100% powered in through solar. Like you're not plugging in anywhere, or you're mostly solar and plugging in somewhere.
It's mostly solar, and I have plugged in. Like there have been some instances, like for example, when the accident happened down here in Catavina, where the panels got ripped off the roof. I obviously couldn't charge off the sun, so I had to go
Ah,
to someone's electrical box and put my
and plug
breaker
in
in.
there.
Started,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah,
um,
and it's cool. The vehicle that you chose is it's like a big van kind of thing. It's like bigger than a van. It's kind of like a bread truck, like almost like a UPS delivery truck size, but it looks different, right? What's that
yeah,
one called? What's the
it's
brand?
a 2010 International E-Star.
E
Like,
Star.
yeah, it was made in. They were modeled in England off a company called Modec made them,
Okay.
and they made a bunch of them in England. Then the company went bankrupt, and then International and Navistar teamed up and bought the rights to produce them. I think they made about 100 or so of them in North America here, and yeah, they're kind of strange. They have a bit of a weird spaceshipy European look to them,
Yeah,
uh,
the
and they're
front
quite rare
doesn't
too.
the front doesn't quite jive with what you think a truck should look like. It's got a big like glass, right? It's like the whole windshield is like almost the whole front, and yeah, but it's a very interesting look to it, and it's perfect for the thing that you were doing, right? What did you
Yeah,
end up doing? Is like those were electric already, but they, as I remember, they had like lead acid batteries or something like the battery
the
wasn't up to spec for what you would want it for, right?
the Modec had the I think the Modec started with lead acid, and then that was kind of like the transition between lead acid and lithium. And like, I'm not completely up with the history of the van. I know the one that I had certainly has lithium ion phosphate
Oh,
cells in it
already it had them in there.
already. I had
Oh,
80
okay.
kilowatt hours, but the power density of those batteries was just ridiculous. Like they weigh about like up close to 2 tons,
Oh,
and
wow.
80 kilowatt hours. So we added some extra. I built the van, or I did the modifications to the van up in Ashland, Oregon, with a company called Solar Roller, Brett and Kira
Okay.
Beaver. And we built a 40 kilowatt hour lithium polymer, like the pouch cells, the little
Uh-huh.
chocolate bar looking cells,
Yeah.
um, which is kind of like half the power. It's 40 kilowatt hours, but it's about a quarter of the density. So much better power to weight ratio for those. So
Ah, I see.
yeah,
So you have the original lithium battery in it, which is 80 kilowatt hours, and then you added 40 kilowatt hours
yeah.
of these lipo cells or lithium polymer
Exactly.
pouch cells.
Lithium polymer, yeah, they're like lithium NiCad, something like that. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, there's some sort of chemistry, but they're lithium. The anode
Yeah,
is lithium. So,
and you put
yeah.
a video recently, right, where you were, cause I saw it, like where you were like soldering and, cause none of like you haven't released any of the footage of your trip so far, right? Or you have?
No, there's 2 seasons on there of the trip so far. So, like,
Oh,
I've
there
done,
is. Okay.
there's vlog episodes of the trip coming down from Alaska all the way down to here, basically.
Ah, okay.
And just recently, because basically what happened was we didn't really set too much time aside for the build. It was kind of like a spontaneous decision, and I kind of just said, "All right, we're doing it." And then I moved to Ashland and built the van, and then I just never released the build footage. So like
Ah, I see. So that's what you're
when
releasing now.
exactly when the incident happened, I was like, okay, well, like I'm not going to be making content because I'm not traveling. let's go back to the vault and see what we can pull out. And so, yeah, it's kind of confusing. I feel kind of bad, but I think people are going to eventually understand how I'm releasing my content. It just,
Yeah,
it takes a bit of,
I mean, it's hard when you're traveling. You know, you either travel or people don't realize that producing content it's a full time job. So you're either producing a TV show or you're traveling. You know, you can kind of
yeah.
do both. And I guess people have tried it, right? It's the same thing with Asta Alaska, Ben.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It was very confusing with him when you would know him. I know probably for regular people that was just seeing the videos, it was okay. But if you knew him and you were following him in his other social media platforms, you were like, "Wait, where are you? I just saw a video where you're down in Mexico and now you're up here in LA. Like, what? I just saw you 2 weeks ago up here. You know, like." So it was a little bit confusing, but it's a challenge basically.
Yeah, it's
Doing
super
two
it's
jobs.
super different. Like everybody's super into the long way up at the moment, with Ewan McGregor and Charlie, because you did an interview with Charlie, right?
Charlie, yeah, a couple of weeks
Like
ago we
a
did.
couple of weeks ago. I watched it. It was really interesting. But the thing, when you watch that, they're always, I think that's kind of like the benchmark of what people want to see, because they're all,
Yeah.
but they don't realize that they have, Rivians chasing them with cameras and stabilizers and all this sort of gear, and then
It's full
editors and
team.
post-production, and it's just me. It's
And
just me
and it took a
tons.
year, by the way. They did this last year, right?
Yeah.
It's 2019, and then they released it now in 2020. So they
Um,
had a whole year to sit around and play with the footage and then make it into
uh,
episodes and the whole thing. It's like a whole production. Right? It's like 300 people. When you look
yeah.
at the credits, I mean, there's five
Right.
researchers, right? There's
Yeah.
five researchers. There's five people who are getting passports and all of that. Not it's a crazy production.
Right.
Um,
And
and
me
then
and
it's
you,
you.
me and you, right? Like we're just, it's like, all right, so whose job is that? Oh, it's mine.
Yes.
Who's doing the graphics for this video? Well, that's me. I'll do them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's tough, right? And I feel the same way as you, right? People are like, "Why is your content so all over the place?" And I'm doing the best I can here. I don't have a team helping me, It's like I'm a
It's like,
one man show.
just enjoy your free content. Like they even made everyone pay for the long way up. We're giving it to everyone for free. So come on.
Yeah. So you're uploading those in your channel.
On
You
YouTube,
have a
yeah.
YouTube channel. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
weird because I kind of looked at that, but I guess I didn't find them. I found the one where you were doing the battery thing, and I kind of read and I go, "Oh, you're doing that right now because because you're stuck, I guess, right now, right?" And so you explain there that that's why you're releasing these build videos or whatever. And I find them interesting because I'm all to batteries and stuff. But I didn't come across the entire season where you're actually traveling.
Yeah,
Um,
so there's two playlists on there. I don't know if anybody's watching this and you want to check that out. You go to my channel, just Root Del Sol on YouTube, and you can either, like any YouTube channel, you can either watch the most released videos, which is probably what you did because you're busy, you don't have time, and you probably saw those most recent videos, which are of the build. But there's
yeah.
something like 4 playlists on there, and the first playlist I ever started is called Chapter 1, and it
Okay.
literally starts with me. Well, there's an even earlier playlist called Prologue, and that's before I start from the Arctic Circle and turn down. And then Chapter 1 starts literally at the Arctic Circle. It's got, me in front of the sign. Me and my buddy were there. We had a wrestle. I did a headstand in front of the sign. And we turned around and we came down. And that was Chapter 1. Chapter 1 ended at the border of Canada and the USA. And then Chapter 2 started at the border of the USA down into Mexico up until when my accident happened. And that's the end of Chapter 2.